This is Kitten Features, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in his student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wade in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. You're listening live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT on this, the 23rd of September, 2018. Hello, everybody. How you doing? How is it going today? And welcome to the show, our good friend Ken. How are you today, sir?
Hello. Thank you for having me today. I'm pretty good. It's been an eventful and long week, and I have lots of things to share, and I look forward to doing so. And I look forward to hearing all about your week as well, Mr. Wayne.
Awesome. Well, with that, let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of
dysfunctional deviations.
And remember, if you want to share your week with us, you can do so by sending an email to showx@vtproductions.com. We always appreciate receiving emails. It makes us feel a little bit loved. You can also join us in the Twitch chat, twitch.tv, and let me just make sure I get this right. I think it's /
VTW. Yes, VTW Show X is where you'll find us.
I'm never sure it's going to have the VTW or not. This time it does. So you can check us out there. Twitch.tv / VTW Show X, and then take part in the chat. I'll do so now. See, I said hi. Okay. Also, I think we can screw around WoW if you guys want that. But if you're free, is Ken still on Room Mic? Yes, I am.
Yeah, we're still dealing with your overall mic and setup has not been fixed and repaired yet, as well as you're traveling right now, aren't you? Or are you back home?
I'm back home now.
Oh, you're back home.
Traveling.
Okay.
Yeah. I can explain, and I will do in a moment. So yeah, we were having some technical issues with the show, and basically I handed in the microphone mixer to a sound not a sound place, it's an electronics place that they deal with electronic stuff. I don't know, they fix washing machines and things. And they said they'd have a look at it. They weren't so sure what they'd be able to do because it's a bit of an unusual thing for them. So they said they'd have a look. They should have it ready in a week, but I was away during all this week, so I couldn't go by and pick it up and see what was going on. So I'll find out next week what's going on with that. Also, moving on, similar to that, I plugged my laptop into the socket over there in the same room, and I had an error when I turned the laptop on saying, warning, strange voltage levels. You might want to be careful. Maybe we're going to have the laptop running on low performance mode just in case. So that was a little weird.
That being plugged into the same outlet that essentially killed the other one?
No, but the same room.
Oh. And
the way that the electricity is set up here is that all the upstairs sockets are on the same fuse. So I'm thinking maybe all the upstairs sockets are screwed. So I literally just got back from the shops and I purchased this little device. It's a socket tester. I don't really know anything about it or how it works. It tells me certain things, like if the PE is open, or if N is open, or if L.
Let me see. Wait. That one. Okay, so it does plug in. It's got just the basic lights, and so it should give you a warning in general if something is at a bad voltage or something like that. Yeah, we have ones like that I use to do basic socket testing, because I have a couple outlets that have an issue. I actually do need to talk to an electrician that are giving a bit of a low voltage, and so I do understand that issue. I need to set that up. I've been putting it off far too long. But none of my outlets are like a big deal. Mine are all ones that won't be a big issue. But that sounds like that whole room might be compromised.
Well, actually, I think it might be the whole floor. But the thing is, we don't tend to use any sockets upstairs. We tend to just sit downstairs and have entertainment and stuff down there. It's only recently I've been upstairs more. Obviously, with the fact that I've been doing the show from uni, so it's not been a problem. So my father is coming around next weekend. He's going to have a look at the sockets and see if he can see anything strange. And if there's nothing that he can just solve on the spot, he's going to suggest we get an electrician. He actually suggested that straight away, which is very nice of him. Being the landlord as well, by the way. That's why I say it's not just my dad's coming to the rescue. He's also the landlord, so he does have a vested interest in this place working correctly. So it's been a bit of a pain in the butt. So I'm waiting to hear about the devices being fixed. and I'm going to find out if the sockets are actually one of the main issues that's going on here, because that would explain it. So we'll find out about that in the next week, hopefully.
Good luck.
Thank you. So along with that, I've been at 2 conferences this week. So at first I was at this conference called the Tommy Flowers Conference, which is to do with the guy who helped solve the Enigma problem, and he actually helped make the first ever programmable computer. It's a conference based on him, to do with PhDs, meeting with industry contacts and such. And then I only went there for 1 day out of 2. But on the second day, I instead went to a different conference where I was presenting some of my research. And that went extremely well. It was a nice, tiny little conference. There must have been like 40 people there max on 1 day. It was really very small. It was at the University of Essex. So I've never been there before, so that was kind of interesting to see another uni. And yeah, I went to a few talks there and learned some interesting things. Like I learned about some of the work going on in soft robotics, which is a very interesting field where if you think of hard robotics being your traditional robot, right? Like, you know, something with 4 legs, walking around, maybe vaguely humanoid, interact with the environment in a very mechanical way, can't really change its shape, and can't really do anything other than what humans can normally do. Well, soft robotics is kind of like the complete opposite of that. It's a very, very new field. It's really not got much research into it yet. It's very early stages. But the plan is to make devices, effectively, which act more like biological entities, such as amoebas, or eels, or worms, or things that can change their shape and how they move. So they might wriggle, so they can move through liquid, or they can move through air, maybe, or maybe they can move through, like, by floating, maybe, or they can maybe go across different types of ground, so sand, or dust, or earth, or ice, whatever. It should work no matter what, that kind of thing. Whereas right now we're very sort of struggling with either legs or wheels, which are not the most versatile of movement devices. So the idea of this is they can move through more substances. Is that one of the cool ideas they want to use it for is, if you think of it, broadband, when you want to install broadband cables under the ground,
Yeah.
right now they have a type of 3D printer, which is the cutting edge, where basically they cut a hole into the ground, big chute goes down, and then it 3D prints the line where it needs to be. Pretty cool. The problem is that if there's any issues at all, everything is backed up for days or weeks, right? They need to pull in engineers, they need to pull in specialists, civil engineers who will dig up the ground, remove big rocks or whatever, and it becomes really problematic. If they can have some kind of soft robotic creature, I say creature, right? A device that can wiggle and move through different spaces. Even if it just had a camera on it, they could have an idea of what's going on down there. So they could send it down. It could intentionally investigate, or maybe even have a 3D printer installed in it something someday in the future. So it will just lay the cable. You know, imagine you just sent it like 100 of these devices out, gave it the plan across the whole country, and they just went underground and did all the work. And went charged when needed to, or whatever, or a solar panel, or whatever. That would be cool, though, right? That's a very interesting idea. One of the things that they're trying to do that makes it unique from these other devices, from normal, standard, hard robotics, is that they really want to move away from engines. Engines are very reliable and they're great and powerful. But the problem is they need fuel, and they're kind of, you know, boxy and they're hard robotics, right? So if you want to have a soft robotics thing, you can't have a part of it that's a square cube, right? That's just stuck as is. So they were looking at things like they've been working on devices that can decompose matter and take that matter and turn it into some kind of energy. And they've got it working, and on a very minor scale. So they've got little devices that looks like, I don't know, an octopus or a finger that can just like, it decomposes something, and then it can start doing this, and it can start like wiggling itself around like this. And it's vaguely interesting. It's pretty useless right now. I mean, it's so early stage that you have to think about what it could eventually be used for. And one of the other things they're trying to use it for was medicinal stuff. So if you wanted to send nano probes down your bloodstream or something to go look for an arterial blockage somewhere, you don't want something that will, if it gets stuck, will also cause another problem. You want something that can elongate itself, make itself thicker or thinner as it needs to, and be a very small device. And that's kind of what they're looking at as well. This idea that it's something that can maybe swim through the veins, and if it goes too deep into something, it can make itself thinner and get out or whatever. Pretty interesting stuff. And I think it's looking to so far in the future that right now, if we're like, what's the point? Why even bother looking into this? It's really hard to see why it'll be useful at this stage. But I think 50, 75 years down the line, it'll be the bog standard. Much like cars have changed, or the internet has changed our minds on certain things, right? I still remember in the 90s, people were saying, "What's the point in mobile phones?" And now look at us, right? So things change. So it's a very interesting conference, lots of cool stuff. I successfully presented my research to a group of 7 people who were very good at feigning interest, and so it all went really well,
Nice.
which is good. While I was down there, however, I had a minor scrape with my car.
Oh no!
Yeah, so I was I was stationary at traffic lights, and a chap in a nice brand new BMW, really nice car, tries to get past me into the next lane and doesn't really estimate the size of his own vehicle very well and scrapes along the side of my car.
Ouch!
So I honk at him, thinking he was going to drive off. Pretty afraid they would. But he pulled over, and he turned to be a really nice guy, and we exchanged insurance details, did the legal thing, and he agreed that he was at fault, which was fantastic. That's exactly what you want to hear at the very start. So
Yeah.
it was not a battle, because if he said it was your fault, I would be like, well, okay, fine, because I'd rather just pay for both our cars than go to legal battle over this, because it just wouldn't be worth it. But he's agreed to fault. My insurance doesn't cover it because my insurance is not for me; it's for other people, right? If I hit somebody, my insurance will pay them money. I'm screwed if I hit anybody. That's the third party, right? Whereas this guy, his insurance it's his work car, so he didn't really care. He was like, "Well, my work will cover it." So
Must be
it
nice.
wasn't an issue. Yeah, it must be nice, right? He was clearly quite well off. So he didn't really mind, and it was fine. I called his insurance, and the ball's rolling now. So I think I need to wait on hearing what to do next. But eventually, I'll take it to the garage, get it fixed, and then I'll probably charge the insurance. Is how it works.
Gotcha.
Insurance, which is nice. So I got to keep my no claims bonus because I'm not going to lose, that hefty chunk of money per year over that. Because when I first started driving, I was spending £1,400 a year on insurance, and it's a legal requirement here in the UK, so I had to do it. Being a young male driver, now I'm saying about $500 a year. I really don't want to go back up to like $1,400 or more. That's insane. So that all happened. Teaching begins for me this coming week. I've picked up way too much teaching. I'm teaching for 2 different organizations, and that's going to be stressful and fun. I do look forward to it, but it's going to be a lot of work. I'll do the minor thing before the big bit of news. I've got the Macmillan Coffee Morning on Friday. So this is like a UK-based cancer research organization and cancer support organization. It's one of the most popular ones in the UK, but they're doing this national thing called the Coffee Morning. It's been planned for months. Basically, you sign up, they send you a little pack telling you what to do. You can host a raffle, or you can host a bake-off, wherever you want. The idea is around the country, different workplaces sit down and have a coffee. They have the option to donate if they want to. By like mobile phone, or you can have it like collect money via the raffle and stuff, and send the money off for this cancer research and cancer support charity. So I offered to actually host one on behalf of my department, and my department head was kind enough to agree. And so that's on Friday.
Nice.
So I'm in the midst of organizing that, trying to encourage people to bake, trying to get people together to do all that stuff. And it's good. It feels really good because I've been wanting to do more charity stuff for a long while, and this is finally something. The nice thing is it's not like a lot of the things I was thinking about doing for charity stuff, like Soup Kitchen or whatever, is often a weekly endeavor, and that's a lot of time that I struggle to donate. So this is a nice one-off. Hopefully I can still raise a fair bit of money, and it also means my department can socialize and have fun during it. Because you don't want charity stuff to be begging, whereas this is actually just come along, have some cake, have a coffee. If you want to donate discreetly, do so. If not, don't worry about it. That's fine. Just enjoy yourself. And I love the idea. I think it's great. So I'm doing that on Friday. Finally, I have a job interview on Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
So this is for I suppose I can say the university. I don't think it makes any difference. This is for Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen. It's a full-time contract working as a researcher in AI. Unlike most positions out there, which for postdocs, the normal thing is when you finish your PhD, you do either a 6-month, 12-month, or 18-month contract. And that's pretty much it. And then you either need to get promoted to a lectureship job in that position, or find another postdoc elsewhere, or if you're lucky, get a lectureship elsewhere. That's kind of how it works in the field, right? So unlike most positions, this one's actually got no end date. So it's actually got an amazing amount of security, which is really rare, which is really, really pretty cool. It's directly in my field, which is good. It's directly dealing with the stuff I do, meta heuristics and AI optimization and such. And it's also industry based, which is exactly what I've been doing for the past few years. All my work is based on a real world application, so it's pretty much right down my alley. It's got great job security, and the wage is I'm happy with the wage, etc. So the only issue is it's in Aberdeen, so I've got to try and talk to them in the interview and see how we're going to deal with that. I don't really want to travel every day, but at the same time, we don't want to leave Stirling as a city, so we're looking at how we're going to do that. So that's what I'm going to discuss with them and see what kind of arrangement we can come to. Maybe I go through for a few days a week and work from home another day or something. I don't know. Do extra hours there, or maybe get a hotel there for a couple of nights a week. I don't know. We'll see. So I'll talk to them and find out. But the interview is going to be very intensive. Research interviews are usually very, 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 very difficult.
Well, regardless, good luck. I mean, gee whiz.
Thank you. They tend to give you this long list of stuff that is involved in the role, and then they won't tell you if you have an interview until 7 days before the interview, and that's intentional so that you don't have too much time to research the stuff. The idea is, how much can you learn about this job in 7 days? They really want to see how dedicated you are. So when I go in there, I'm going to be grilled about everything on there, about the strengths, the weaknesses that are expected, the role that's expected, and technical aspects of the job as well. So specific things about the different subdomains and such. So it's kind of a scary thing actually. I'm pretty terrified of this interview, which is funny because the interviews I've had in the past, I've always been like, it'll be fine. But this one, I'm actually a little bit nervous for.
Well, I am sure you will do great because you know your stuff, and who wouldn't want to employ you? So.
Thank you very much. In the Twitch chat, Copy says Aberdeen. That's I believe a place in WoW. And Hando said Aberdeen, Texas, which is not quite accurate. He also suggests I get a job in Boston. If you can find one for me, sir, we'll definitely look at that.
As I say, yeah, you should send the resumes out this direction. I wonder if there'd be something we could find. That'd be really interesting.
You say that as if I haven't already said. I've sent out dozens of CVs over the U.S. already.
I'm sure you have, but it's targeting through people we know, kind of thing. So doing the whole set your CV up to some of your friends and kind of let us know what you're looking for to see if, word of mouth, we know of a position that might be coming up that's not openly listed, and something where we might be able to say, hey, I know someone.
That would be cool. If anybody knows any university or academic-based institutions, including government and public funded, I'm okay with those as well, like CERN's great, that do academic postdocs in the field of computing science, in the subfield of AI meta-heuristics with real-world applications. And I'm guessing, because I know everybody in that field, there's like 300 of us, I feel like that it's unlikely that anybody listening will have a contact. But if you did, that'd be fantastic. But the US is more something we're going to look for kind of medium term, because basically we want to make sure that Kitten has enough experience in her current role, and ideally should transfer within her company to a US based position, and I would join her at that university. That'd be the perfect. The best one is actually, believe it or not, in Colorado, because there is a site there that has both her institution working at the university site, as well as their computing department has some fields similar to mine. So I did send off a CV there a couple months ago. Haven't heard anything back, sadly. That doesn't mean they might keep a hold of it. Anyway, that's everything from me. Oh, one more thing actually. I should show off what I'm drinking. I made apparently this isn't a kind of a mix on a very, very, very old recipe, which is mead with honey, cinnamon, and a little bit of water. And then
so it's mead that's just more meadish?
Yes, it's pretty much.
It's like, how do you make mead more dessert, put more honey in it, and do more actual, like, like cinnamon.
Well,
and-
the water like lessens the alcohol. Like
yeah, why would you do
all at
that?
once.
It's just wine.
Well, it's because it's quite concentrate. It does kind of taste like it's concentrated.
Mm.
So that with a little bit of honey and the cinnamon makes it taste more Christmassy and more autumnal. I suppose.
Like a mead cider almost.
Yeah, it's really nice. And well, yeah, but in the US sense, yeah. Here, cider being a cold beverage that's alcoholic, of course. But yeah, it's actually very enjoyable. Whereas normally when I drink mead, it's sort of got like a tang afterwards, like ooh, like you can kind of. Well, it's the only mead that we have access to is a 4-pound bottle, a really cheap bottle from our local supermarket. That's it.
What?
Right. So. Yeah, I can always get it more expensive on Amazon.
You mean you have some like honey hooch, is what you have.
Effectively, yeah, effectively. So it's nice, but this actually helps make it more like enjoyable. So and plus, it's actually getting quite chilly here, so having a nice warm drink is nice.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm having a warm drink. In fact, I'm having a mixture. Was it Tazo branded pumpkin spice chai latte? But added with a little bit of, what do I have? Some Liquor 43 and spiced rum in it as well to make it
We are
nice
big
and
fans of
heated up.
43.
And oh yeah, 43 is wonderful. So that with a little bit extra rum heated up, it's quite nice. And it is not cool here. It is warm, and I am getting a little warmer in the basement doing so, but worth it because it is so good.
That sounds delicious. The recommended drink here with 43 is you get a shot of 43, put like a head of whipped cream on it. That's apparently what you're supposed to do with it, according to the company.
Nice.
Sounds quite nice. I think I had it once, but I don't really remember because I think I was at a stage where I wouldn't remember.
So, sounds like you've had an eventful week then, sir. The things that haven't been geeky this week. Let's see.
That's everything from my end, though.
As I have been going on, I really don't have much to say that's not been geek this week. I think I'll focus more on the geek side of things.
I'm always jealous of how geeky you are.
Ha!
I aspire to be as geeky as you, sir.
Oh, you say that. I don't know if there's much geek to be spoken of, so much as that I did go to some musical events this past week. In fact, the same one twice, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Nine Inch Nails concert at Red Rocks. And
Nice.
I went both on Tuesday and Wednesday. And so
Wow.
this is a first for me because it happened where way back when I missed the show the one time and tried to call in is because I spent 10 hours in line to get tickets to the concert. And this is because Trent was trying to do something different and helping to avoid scalpers and all the nonsense that goes on in online sales of tickets, especially here in the U.S., and in doing so said you had to show up in person and limited how many tickets you could buy per person or per household, which is 4 per show, so 4 per day. And so I went and I picked up 4 for each day. On Tuesday I got actual assigned seats that were towards the center and really nice, but cost a bit more. Then on the Wednesday I got a set of general admission tickets with the thought that I would go once and then sell the other tickets to whomever might want them with a little bit of a premium for me sitting in line that might somewhat cover the overall price of the tickets that I spent. That was my goal. It did not quite work out that way, but partially is because I didn't really push hard to get others to see if they wanted tickets. Instead, I specifically found people to go with me. And so on Tuesday, and it started out with Fork and I had originally planned, let's go hit this concert because she and I tend to go to a lot of the concerts that I see together. We're kind of our go-tos. And from that, so we had already planned, and then another set of friends of ours, Hydroxycut and Eleanor Moon, were interested and got the other 2 tickets for that night. And then on the next night, I actually ended up going with another set of friends because I had another couple that said, like, hey, I'd be totally interested. I found another friend, and we all went. So I went 2 nights in a row. Now, the nice thing is, one, I love Nine Inch Nails. Trent's always put on great music from as far back into, like, the early 90s as I can recall. And in this one, admittedly put on a heck of a show. What was interesting is not having ever been... Well, the other side is it's Red Rocks, which is one of the best venues you can ever visit. Open-air
I've heard you say
concert
it before,
venue.
yeah.
It's so good. Sound is amazing there. But they had... And I don't remember the name of the opener for the 2 nights. There was a first band that played on the first night, but not the second, that I really didn't pay much attention to. But the other one is actually... Let's see if I can look it up real quick here. Was a gentleman or a group that's out of Scotland, in fact. And they were, let's see, there's the set list. Well, so no, they weren't terrible, but they were older sounding or different sound than I expected, which was interesting.
Okay. Older sound.
Yeah, because they were a band out of the 80s. And on this one, let's see if I can find, which date was it? It doesn't matter. I just need to find out which other artist was with them. But it was a Scottish band that it was like Jesus something.
Oh, okay.
Out of the 80s. It was Jesus. I want to find this now. So 9 Inch Nails, Jesus something. Was this Jesus and Mary Chain and Tobacco? I believe. Yeah, that should be it. Sure, I'm going to guess that was the band. Because I remember it said Jesus on the thing. But Jesus and Mary Chain, apparently. I believe that's the group, but they are a Scottish band that was out supporting them. And they were fine. They just had kind of an older 80s rock sound, and not so much kind of the alternative, heavier rock that Trent can do, that Nine Inch Nails does. So it was a little different, but still a great show.
It doesn't have to be the same genre when they're supporting. I mean, I've seen that quite frequently where there's different genre for the starting band.
Absolutely. It's just, it was one that I wasn't prepped for. And so while it was good, it was kind of like, I was getting all hyped for like a little heavier stuff, and this is kind of chill.
Right.
That's all that was, but it was still decent music. But it meant for on the Tuesday when we went, took our time, and both nights I kind of set it up for the groups because of them. Let's see, only on the second day, the couple I went with the second day had been to Red Rocks before for a show of any kind. So on the first day, they had not. I think they had been there, but never for an actual concert. And so it was tons of fun to introduce new people to the venue and to see what a concert's like. So I got everyone there early and made sure that we had time to pregame and to kind of have some food and drinks down in the parking lot. Partially because it's a lot less expensive than what you're going to buy up in the venue. And so we all got there, a good hour or two early to when anyone was going to start playing, and sat there and started, chatting it up, have some drinks, have some food, and really just kind of get ready for the concert to be had. It was beautiful each night that we were there. Really nice out. I think on the Wednesday show it rained a little bit, maybe, but that was like a refreshing, nice rain. And there were a couple things that were just of note of the concert as a whole. Yes, it sounded wonderful. In fact, it's interesting because Red Rocks now has a couple ordinances they've put in to kind of, I guess, keep the local or the closest town populace a little happier. One of which is
a couple of what? Sorry?
Ordinances, rules that bands have to follow.
Sorry.
Yeah, so as not to get fined. Essentially, they leverage fines if you break the rules. And so the rules they have now is during weekday shows, they have to be done at the venue by 11 o'clock in the evening. So they can't go later than that. They have to shut down by 11. If it goes past that, they charge. The other one is they have a decibel limit. And so they have a limit to how loud bands can play.
Okay, yeah.
Which we were annoyed about heavily because it's like, this is a rock venue. This is a music venue that's been around naturally forever, as far as we're concerned. And definitely longer than people have been here. And concerts have been going on at it for as far back as people can. I'd have to look to see when it opened, but far before people lived by it. And then people started building houses closer and closer, and all of a sudden started complaining that it was too loud at night. With the idea that you built a house by a concert venue, what were you thinking? Same thing happens with people that like build houses by airports. Why is it so loud? Why are there planes flying over? Because you're in a flight path and you built a house here, you idiots.
You chose to live here. Yeah, I get that.
So it's just always odd for me when you have groups trying to change what's always been there because they now have moved in after the fact. Anyhow, I do question whether or not Nine Inch Nails was pushing the limit on getting fined for the decibel volume, especially on the Tuesday show. Because it was louder than I basically had heard ever done before. And yes, Kuro, you're right, racetracks as well. That happens in the same area with Bandamere and some of the other stuff. But then on the Wednesday, it was a little more managed, but good. Either way. But each show they did cut off in time. In fact, the Tuesday show they cut off right at 11. And it was a little earlier on Wednesday because of the rain that was happening on Wednesday. And so they actually cut the first band and just had the Jesus band go on and then Nine Inch Nails, so they actually went a little earlier. But with the two shows, what was really cool is there were very different set lists between each night. And so for someone like me, I really was not sure. Now, it makes sense that Nine Inch Nails has more than a big repertoire to pull from. But this is still kind of surprising because it's what do you practice? What do you have set up for your shows?
Well, yeah, the other thing, though, they will practice that so goddamn much. They'll know every single freaking song inside out. And plus, it probably keeps it interesting for them. If you're playing the same freaking songs every night, it'll be kind of you lose some passion.
You could, especially if it's for the full tour. So I was always curious to see how bands do that. Because I've also seen bands that they always write their set list down, have it out there, and they maybe have only really rehearsed so many songs. So they could probably play some of their older stuff, but they aren't ready for it to flow directly in the format they're doing and to get the timeline for the show done. So it's just interesting to kind of go through. One of the highlights, though, of the concert was at least the Tuesday show was the premiere of a song I didn't realize, but both Fork and Eleanor Moon recognized right away and just started singing along. We're loving it. But one of Trent's older songs that he had done, I forget where it premiered from, but it was the song The Perfect Drug. And the way I heard about it after the fact was this was the first time it had ever been performed live. And because it's basically got a very intense, the music parts of it, the drums especially, are very intense. And there's some things you have to do there that you have to be phenomenal to try to pull off. But in doing so, he premiered essentially the first time ever playing it live here at Red Rocks on the Tuesday. And so people lost their mind when it went on. And I didn't know that was a premiere. I know that, again, the gals recognized, like, oh, I hope they play this. And then he did, not realizing it had never been done before. So that's pretty darn cool, right? That's
that
neat.
Is really cool.
And then
I'm always kind of freaked out at the idea of like Dragon Force or Symphony X or
God,
and these guys who have like the crazy guitar work, crazy keyboard work as well.
Oh gosh, any of that would be so insane.
Yeah, I can imagine how stressful that'd be for them. Get like, okay, I can't screw this up because oh my god, like the news for years.
Granted, they're the ones playing it, so if they screwed up or do something different, it's just they did a cool live rendition. No,
well, unless they actually screw up, right? Like, a wrong note can be heard throughout the entire audience.
Yeah, unless they stop it completely or something like that. But regardless, it was just. That was really cool. And then on the Wednesday show, apparently they opened, and I didn't recognize it because it was a mix and they changed it. But they opened with another, like a tweaked version of Perfect Drug to start the Wednesday show. So that's pretty darn cool. With that, they had played most of the favorite songs, a lot of stuff off the later album that I didn't recognize as much, but they did play some of the favorites I'd hoped to. And both nights they played what is probably my favorite song from Nine Inch Nails now, which is Hurt. And it's just, gosh, it comes across so good live. Just, and everyone in the audience knows it. And just, so good. Such a good experience.
That's one of the best covers of all time.
Yes. Well, so it's funny, right? Because it's their song, and then when you get some of the people who've done covers of it, and it's so phenomenal.
Well, yeah, Johnny Cash.
Notably, yes. So him doing that was just so good. And then they played The Perfect Drug to close out essentially their last sets on Tuesday. On Wednesday, they played Closer, which they had not played on Tuesday because that's another one of my favorite songs. And so it was really neat that I got to experience both. So that was just a blast. And I really wasn't sure what I was going to see from seeing the same show twice in a row, but I enjoyed the heck out of it. Now, it did make me suffer a bit at work the next days because those are late nights to be out during the week, but was able to manage that.
Twice in a row as well.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
Oh my god, dude, that must have literally rocked your ears.
Well, yeah, the Tuesday show was loud. After that, it wasn't so bad. But it was.
I thought it was your death after that.
But it was so worth it. It was so much fun. So I really enjoyed seeing Nine Inch Nails. They put on a wonderful show, and I recommend it for anyone. It was interesting, too, because in a lot of bands I go to, they have a lot more going on stage, I will say, and how they're running around and kind of presenting to the audience. Trent did not. It was very much, I'm here to play. And so the effects on stage and the stage setup was nothing but a bunch of lights that changed colors but were flashed towards the audience. Pretty stroby and blinding in many cases. But that was kind of it. He wasn't running around stage. It's not like they had costumes to change or anything like that. It was just, I'm here to rock. And played really well. So it was a fun experience and a lot of fun introducing people. So that was a good time. That's pretty much what I wanted to bring up that hadn't been specifically geek this week. And so with that, I think I go ahead and transition things here a little bit early as we would. but into things a little more geek. And so let's jump in there with...
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
So, in our geek cred today, Ken, what have you been doing that's been a little more geek? I know you have to have had some things that you have that beautiful gaming laptop with you now, that there's at least now always an opportunity for things to be a little more geek.
Sure, okay. I was tempted to let you go first.
I could if you'd like. It's up to you.
I can jump into it, but I'm aware that my dysfunctional deviations was about twice as long as yours, so I always feel bad for that.
Oh, never an issue.
How about you go first?
All right.
We'll swap around.
No, can do that. So, looking at my geek cred for the week, and not that I have a ton, but things I do want to talk about. Yesterday, and I had stuff leading up all the week, but yesterday I had a few events going on, and start out with a community event for Pokemon Go. So people who don't know, I still play Pokemon Go, quite enjoy it, and I really like these events and things they do to kind of bring people out all at the same time. One of the more entertaining things for playing Pokemon Go for me recently has been just the larger groups that I've kind of gotten associated with, that they chat on either social media or whatever to kind of coordinate when people are getting together. So that it's a lot.
I've seen that on here as well, yeah, so that's the thing here too.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to set up some of the raid groups you need to have enough people to be able to go after these legendaries that spawn in the gyms. Right now, as a legendary, Mewtwo has been added to the thing where he's actually showing up in regular raids. Now, those raids, though, he is a 60,000 plus champ or legendary Pokemon, and so we were hitting it with 14 or more people to actually go through the raid. I think you could probably pull it off with 12, maybe less, but you'd have to have the right Pokemon at high enough level people, because we got through it pretty easily. Had plenty of time left. But it's nice because prior to this, Mew was only done on community events or special X-Packs raids, where you get special raids that were given out on occasion. And so with that, it was neat you could just go around and do a couple different Mewtwo raids in the same day, get some candies or pick up Mews. So that was fun. Also with that, they yesterday had the part of the community day itself was essentially 3-ish, 4-ish hours, 4 hours, I think, of... Oh, what was the character? Starts with a C. I think it was a plant type Pokemon, and I am forgetting the name of it. Chikorita or something like that. Chikorita. Like I say, I am terrible at this. I'm sure Copy can save me from myself just knowing names of Pokemon. But in doing so, it was really, really awesome. And we got, because with these events they spawn far more often, and so going through it was able to get a bunch of candies, hit a bunch of them, kind of went around the mall and such because there's a concentration of Pokestops and things, and got a bunch of the different Pokemon. See, Copy, thank you, Chikorita. And from that was able to actually level them up because it turns into, a Bayleaf or something like that is the next one up, and the top one, I forget the name. I'll have to look at my list because I was successful. I mean, I always know people that do significantly better than I in the game are able to get all kinds of, different variations and stuff like that. And so from this one with the community day, not only did you get more of the Chikoritas starting out, but there's a higher likelihood of catching shinies, since those are more rare. But shiny versions, which have a slightly different coloration. Yes, so got the Chikoritas, and from there, they evolve into, like I said, the Bayleaf or such, and then they had a special thing where if you evolved them during the event all the way up to the start, which is a Meganium, which is the top level version, it also would learn a special attack, Frenzy Plant, which was only available during the event, or it's more likely during the event, however that works up. And so was able to accomplish that. I got, 2, 3... 4 shiny Chikoritas, but none of them were epic. And so they're all ones that were just good enough to keep. But I did get one perfect regular Chikorita that I evolved all the way up to a Meganium, as I try to say these things right. But perfect in the sense that it was full XP, and it had the top level attack, defense, and HP that it could have. So that was a fun event with that as well. And nice thing is I have kind of a built-in run around with people because I pick up La Campette, and we ran around. She was actually over working on some Halloween costume things, and then we took a break and went off and did some Pokemon hunting in the middle of that. Met up with some friends I know and things like that. Wait a second. Is that Ken? Are you showing me on your screen? What did you do? Did you click on your Discord, or are you still there? Ken, did I lose you? Because yes, all of a sudden, I only see me. What happened to my Ken? Let's see. Let us try to call him back. Thank you, Campo, for mentioning that there's too much me on the screen. Looks like he may be trying to come back. Ken, are you there? So I see him in the call, and I'm seeing his face again, so hopefully that'll work. In the meantime, yeah, that was weird. You don't need to see that much of me. Ha. But anyhow.
I can't hear you. One moment.
All right, as Ken gets that sorted, and just to be safe.
Sorry.
Okay, just to be safe,
How's
as we
my
like to
audio,
do.
though?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, because it switched from my webcam to the internal mic, and it's not showing the webcam anymore. So.
Huh. Well, it's still mostly sounding good, so I think you're okay.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was strange. I looked at the event log quickly while I was loading up. I don't see anything standing out weird. I don't know. It just froze, and then I had to restart it manually.
Well, it's interesting. Oh, the actual whole computer died?
Yeah.
Oh, yikes. So, no, that was interesting, because all of a sudden, Ed Campo was saying in the chat, was like, double Wayne? I was like, what? Double Doc? And so I looked up, and I had both your image was gone, it was replaced with mine in Discord. And so it was two of me talking to myself, because that's not bad and creepy. No. So, anyhow. Yeah, that happened. But yeah, so finished Pokemon Go event. Lots of fun. Always recommend if you're still out and about, need an excuse to be a geek while walking around outside and getting some sun. I really do enjoy Pokemon Go for that, so still been playing the heck out of it. Other than that, I've got some other game to talk about, but also yesterday went to a party for a friend of mine for celebrating a birthday event. Topping off, or with the birthday event, though, was also a celebration because of the timing of Bilbo and Frodo Baggins' birthday based on lore. And so essentially turned it into a Hobbit Day party. And in doing so, asked people to come over to share in a lot of eats so that we could have a big, essentially potluck kind of birthday celebration. Went over there, people dressed as various form of hobbit or elf or such. I was the one oddball in the room as I came dressed because I decided to do a 3D print project. It was kind of just random because I'd found the helm and files as I'd been going around looking at things. And so looking on the ironing board behind me, and I will don it for a moment, I did a 3D print project that I wore along with the cloak. So for visual aid, I decided to be a ring wraith. And
oh, that's cool, dude.
That's huge. Yes, no, it's actually quite massive. The fun part is actually isn't as heavy as you'd expect. I was able to print it light enough that it worked well, and I put some foam on the inside to allow it to fit on my noggin. So I'm gonna have to remove the headset for a second. I won't be able to hear you, but just so you can see what it looks like as it's on my head, and I'm sure it hollows me out to some degree. It also, I had it with a black cloak on, so I got the black eyes, face, and everything behind it. It worked really well. It took me a solid, basically, week to get it printed and put my cans back on, but I was able to get it done in time and finish it very quickly for the party. And I basically just stood in the back of the party most of the time, just standing there, looking all evil and quiet. But people quite enjoyed it as I had that going on. So I'm a little tempted. It's watching back to the movie and seeing clips from it. This was designed to easily fit most people's heads, although it's pretty large. I would probably want to resize it slightly and maybe adjust some of the design just a little bit to make it tighten up on the face some more. But I'd want to print this again and almost want to do a full costume of it, because I did some research and I was like, oh, that guy is bad arse and would be wonderful. So.
Oh, yeah. After reading the books, I can say that he absolutely is definitely badass.
Well, and just, it was so cool to have a project come together like that real quick and throw it off, because I've been doing a lot of different cosplay pieces with 3D printing. Some designs myself, that was one I grabbed off of Yegi, and so I think it was actually on Thingiverse as a whole, but I printed it out, and now when I got it, it was one solid piece, so I had to manually go into Mesh Mixer and do some slicing of it to make it fit on my print bed. So I had to cut it in ways that it would print fairly well, and I think I did an alright job. It probably could have optimized it a bit, but it came out nice, so I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And like I said, it's fun for me to do 3D prints and have them translate into real projects that I get to play with.
Yeah, that's cool.
Along with that, for 3D printing, just to finish that out for my geekiness, I have started trying to transition over from the program of choice that I have been using, which is Tinkercad, free from Autodesk. Allows you to really quickly go in there and just use shapes and basic sizes to kind of create 3D models. And I've done a good job with that. In fact, I've been able to print most of my props going up to now with Tinkercad. But the entire, basically, 3D community that I find online that I've been following forever for their prints, some of the big ones, Maker's Muse, 3D Printing Nerd, a bunch of other ones that I follow on YouTube and such. If you ever want to learn more about 3D printing, I recommend those channels. But I went and started finally using Autodesk's more CAD-based program, which is Fusion 360. That takes, it's using more precise measurement tools, angles, things like that you can do. So I just started playing with it and have been, first things I printed off were some couplers to fix a couple things around the house. One was to fix for La Campette. She has a scythe that she's working on for an anime character that she has, and the handle of it is split in half where it normally would connect. It kind of broke, so I printed a coupler for that, and she was able to get that working. And I did a similar thing for a household tool that I have, another coupler. So I'm just playing basics of how to figure out how to use this tool, but I'm hoping to pick it up because I have some other commissions that I need to start working on soon, and so that'll be nice. So definitely continuing in the 3D printed world. For those who have been following along, played some WoW. I am now, as of today, up to level 16 on my Night Elf Rogue. And so slowly working up with that. I did sub, and so I've officially become part of the guild. What is it? The Knights of...
One of us.
So scarily, at least in it. And so I am in the guild now, so you should be able to find me if you're playing on Moonguard US on the Alliance side. And so I am checking it out again for a bit to see how that goes. Also, been you and I played a little bit of League of Legends.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
As well as I've been playing it some more just on my own ARAMs like I would normally, but as well as the new Odyssey mode. And you just got a taste of that. Did you play any more beyond what we played?
No, I've not touched it since, no.
Well, what were your impressions, and how would you describe the Odyssey mode that's currently in the extra spot that they do in League of Legends for different game modes as they play through things?
So you're still roboting for me, by the way, so I'm struggling to hear you. But I think you asked me how did I think of Odyssey. Basically, I found it quite interesting. It's odd that they've got an AI-based match from the looks of it. Pretty rare considering every other mode that they've got on. Either literal just an AI match of 5v5 for basically training purposes, or everything else is PvP. So this is something that they've really made an effort to be truly not PvP, which is nice. It means that people who are not particularly PvP oriented are not very good at LoL yet can actually try their hand at different characters and try them out. Admittedly, it's only the 5 that you have access to, but I think anybody can use any of the 5 as well, though, right? I think it's anybody can play them.
Anybody can choose whichever ones they want to play, and you can play all the same if you want, or mix up this team however you want. Normally, I do it now based on the little mini achievement awards or whatever they give for extra stuff through it.
Sure,
and that's normally what I choose mine by. If there's like, play this character and get a reward, I'll be like, all right. And if I need to and I'm worried about winning, I'll not worry about team comp and I'll just go a level easier or such. Because it does tier out for each one you open up how difficult the experience will be, and that changes which mobs will spawn and what abilities they'll have and how many they'll have and how much health they have and things like that, which can make the game a little more frantic as you get higher up.
I can see why, yeah. I look forward to playing it a bit more. I've just not really been playing it, to be honest. I got distracted by other things. But yeah, it seemed like very cool. I like the idea. I like the feel of it. It was a little bit basic at start. So I'm looking forward to the more than the first level.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. The other thing that I've been playing outside of that, because I still don't play normal games at all in LoL, but I've been convinced a couple times recently to jump on to a couple matches of Rainbow Six Siege with Campo and Fork and a few of the others, Pause and people like that who still do our FPS gaming for the most part as we wait, I think, for the next Call of Duty Black Ops 4 to come out. And I enjoy the game. I have mixed interactions with it, as it is not just a Twitch-based shooter, which I do fairly well at, I do okay at. This one is much more strategic. This one really benefits from you knowing level design and where angles are and how different champs may be able to exploit it, different operatives. And so I'm still learning heavily, even though I'm playing it here and there. Campo definitely, I would say, is the lead in the VTW community for who plays and does well with Rainbow Six Siege. And so I've found that I often just follow him around the match and try to back him up so that he can carry me. Even if it just means I'm a meat shield that is the one they shoot first so that he can then take everyone out. But in doing so, I have actually really enjoyed playing more and more of Rainbow Six Siege. They continue to do updates to it, adjust levels, and add new operatives, things like that keep it kind of fresh and change what you have to expect from how you approach different levels. Because I forget how many different maps there are, but there's only so many. And they only have a couple different modes that you tend to play through. It's really kind of the base concept of you either are trying to go secure a point, or you're trying to go rescue a hostage or something, / defend each of those options in a level. And it barely changes how you play it, other than you can't, if there's a hostage, you can't go in as aggressively because you can't just like scatter a room like I love to do as a fuse, and if you're assaulting an area in a bomb mode, because he has a little thing that you can attach to destructible objects or windows or floors and ceilings that will spit out a bunch of small grenades and pepper a room with them. And so with that, it's kind of a... You don't want to do that when you're going after a hostage, because the likelihood is you will, kill the person that you're trying to save. So don't do that. But it's funny because we've also had people mess that up too.
Understandably, yep.
We've had people, who have notably said they forgot what mode we were playing or such. And so... Well, yeah, so when they then go ahead and kill your objective, like the one you want to go to, or you're trying to save or whatever, and you're like, oh, so we lose. Crud. So, yeah, there's just moments where you're like, why did you do that? And they're like, oh, I totally didn't know. So, things like that. But... It's a really entertaining game, and definitely one I recommend if you ever see on sale and stuff. And if you want a shooter, but not one that's not all Twitch, that's you could be a lot more strategic about, covering angles, covering an objective, while it still benefits and works with people that have the idea of wanting to run around and go kill people and just pew pew. Because there are roles that work effectively where your job is to help flush out where enemies may be, and not just sit on a point where they are going to be able to coordinatedly come at it. And so it's interesting to play the game. There's lots of ways to approach it. So I find it to be a refreshing and fun experience around the classic shooter genre, things like that. So that's been a lot of fun as well. But that's pretty much what I've been doing that's been geek running around this week.
Cool. So that's a nice variety of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure I have other little things. I've got shows and stuff I could talk about to some degree. I've still been, I'm behind, but I've been watching a bit of Supernatural. I finally have caught up to...
Oh, okay.
What did I finish? Did I just finish season 12, I think? Because it's one that I had watched for a long time and then just fell off because I got busy with other things.
And because it's crap.
Oh, I do like me some Supernatural. It's a great in the background show for me. Like, while I'm editing photos or doing other things, just having it on has really been a good way for me to kind of get through it all. Trying to think some of the other stuff recently, because I'm catching up on some older titles. Like, I just watched Coco the other night, the Pixar Disney movie. The animated one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I really liked it.
I really like that one. That was one of the best it's done.
And it's gone a couple directions I didn't expect, and it was really pretty. Like, silly pretty. And it was one of those things as I was watching, I was like, oh, this is good, and I stopped it, or as I was playing I had to get up and turn the lights off so I could really see the pop of color, stuff like that. I was like, oh, this is good. And I'd seen a lot of people do cosplays and stuff at different things from it, and I understand more so why now, because it's really, really good. And what was the other one I watched recently? It's something that just didn't catch me as much, but Coco did. It was really good. Anyhow, so I've got a few things I've been trying to catch up and stuff like that. Now that my house is kind of chill, I've been able to spend some more time just relaxing and watching television and stuff, not just hiding out in my basement on the computer, so it's been nice. So
That's
things like that.
good.
Although, yeah, so that's what I've been doing that's geek this week. It's probably a good opportune time for me to figure out what music we might play during the break here. That's
generally quite useful.
Oh, is there any? It's almost like I want to say, is there any recommendations or anything that people would like to hear?
The thing is, nobody knows what Creative Commons things we can do, though, right?
Yeah, that's true. So I will instead go into a little bit of something from OC Remix, maybe, or what do I got here? Oh, I know what I can try. I'll do a soundtrack one. This will be one for Copy, because she'll recognize and understand what this is at least from. But I'm going to pick a random one here, and we'll see if she can comment in about specifically what it is during the break. And so I'm going to throw this one into the mix and take the one that's in there out of there. And we're going to take a break. Actually, we won't be gone too long, because I think this song's only just under 3 minutes long. But we'll be back right after this. You're listening to Show X at VTWProductions.com. And we'll be back just in about 3-ish minutes. So, see you in a moment. Bye.
Send in your emails to showx at VTWProductions.com. You're listening to ShowX on VTWProductions.com.
All right, everybody, and welcome back to the show. How are you guys doing? So, as I cover for waiting for Ken to return to the room, because admittedly when I take a short song like that, the break goes surprisingly quick. But we are back, and Copy, what was that from? This is a direct question to you, because I picked it from a soundtrack that I think you would know and understand. I cheated, let's see. I will say, hopefully you saw the name of it, but it was Thump Brothers, and let's see. It was from, how else do I want to cheat? It was disc 3 of the soundtrack called Nautilus, from an album called Double the Trouble. So with all that information, Copy, What was it from? What game did I play that song from? Real-time questions and answers. Be curious if you figure it out. So, all right. And while Copy is pondering that, and Ken sits back down to start talking about what his geek cred of the week is. Ken, what have you been up to for geek?
You know what's really distracting when you're trying to think of topics? When you turn around and see your dog licking his own butt. Stop it. Stop it. Dummy. What dummy?
Is it now? Is it?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things I can talk about, and you're right. Having the gaming laptop certainly does help with this. I'm opening up Steam again, so I can look, because I actually have games in there now because I have a computer that can run games. Okay, so I've got three main. Let me describe to you my toolbar. What I've pinned to my Windows 10 bottom bar here. I have Battle.net, Chrome, of course. I've got Steam, Discord, League, and Spotify. And that's everything.
Huh.
So let me go through different game launchers I've got here and tell you what I've got installed and what I've been playing. So I'll leave the talking points for later, really. So I've installed Hearthstone. I've not touched it because I played it on my phone anyway, but it's just there just in case. I've installed StarCraft 2 because I think everybody got that for free at some point. So at least I could get it anyway. So it's there. So StarCraft 2, which could be fun. I have not installed Diablo 3 because while I own it on PC, I've been playing it mostly on PlayStation. So it kind of, I don't really want to. I don't think it's the same account that I log into, sort of thing. So I'm not so interested in that. So I haven't touched it. And I've of course got wow. But let's talk about that. In Steam, I have been playing and have got installed. Let me look. So first of all, Subnautica. That's something I wanted to mention. It says I've got 12 hours. That's a bit of a lie. I don't, because I left it on overnight at one point by mistake. I actually closed my laptop and I expected to go to sleep. And at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., I woke up like, what's that noise? The fan was going crazy. Turns out the laptop was just running for no reason. Don't know why I decided to do that. So I've got a few hours clocked that I didn't have actually played. So I've been playing Subnautica a little bit. This is a single player. It doesn't require internet connection. I was playing that when I was in the hotel, the first night mainly. And it was, it was a lot of fun. I think it's a really cool concept. Basically, all you know is that you're on a spaceship. Explosions happen. And then you're trying to get off the spaceship. You don't do anything. You're just watching this. It's like the forest plane scene. And then you get into this escape pod. You jump out. As the pod's like flying away from the main spaceship, you look through the window and see the main spaceship exploding. So in other words, you're alone, is kind of what it's trying to say. And then you land in the water, and that's why it's called Subnautica. And you wake up, you got to put out a fire and stuff, and then there's absolutely no instruction on what to do. It doesn't explain anything. You're just left to yourself. So you put out the fires, you pick up the fire extinguisher, and you see what the escape vessel has available. It's got like a 3D printer, which is pretty cool. It's got like a first aid, regenerating first aid pack, so you can heal yourself, and then after like an hour it comes back again as well, so you heal yourself again and again. It lets it be known on the screen that there are like 3 out of 4 solar panels working or something. So you have an intake of energy every day that replaces itself. So your 3D printer will keep working, even if you run it dry. It'll be able to do more work tomorrow, sort of thing.
Okay.
And that's pretty much everything. So there's a little escape pod. So you jump. There's a little escape hatch. So you use the escape hatch on your escape pod, and you realize that this is entirely water-based planet. There is no land, or there's none nearby. And I believe it's randomly generated. I don't know. You look around and you can pick up some stuff. You can pick up some fish. Some of the fish try to attack you. There's lots of metal to be salvaged from bits of the ship around the place. It gets dark at night, and that's quite difficult. You run out of oxygen, and you also need food and water. So these are all the considerations you need to make. And it's a bit of a pain in the butt because you're like, oh, geez, constantly going for air. One of the first things you'll find is a bladder fish, which you can then give to your 3D printer, which will help you if you get enough iron and some other stuff, metal or whatever. Titanium, actually. Titanium is what you get from the salvage metal. You can make your own little, I don't know, air canister thing. And with that, you can dive for longer, which makes the game a bit more pleasurable, because it's a little annoying at first, constantly being worried about...
Yeah, having to find air all the time and only going so far away.
Yeah, exactly. And then slowly but surely, you unlock more blueprints for your 3D printer as you unlock more stuff. I think you eventually get to build a base, but I haven't actually gotten that far yet. I got to the stage where the main ship, you can see in the horizon if you go on top of the escape pod and look away. You can see this giant ship in the distance, and you keep getting warnings about radiation levels spiking, and then it's like, I don't know, pulsar drive or something explodes, and there's radiation everywhere. So I think you have to start worrying about radiation at some point. I don't know for certain. So it's fun and everything, and I really love the concept. The only thing is, nobody particularly likes underwater levels of games, right? It's kind of like that one level that's memorable, but you don't want to do it for the whole game. I kind of feel that way. I'm kind of constantly aware and annoyed of the fact that I'm underwater. I'm like, all right, I look forward to going to the escape pod because the one thing is above water. For food, you eat the fish, which is kind of no surprise. You can cook it if you want to, but you can eat it raw as well. And you also need to find water, which is quite difficult because it's an ocean, so it's salty. So you need to make water out of other ingredients that you find. And it's pretty fun, and I really like it. But I really, one of my favorite things with the forest and such is that it's multiplayer. You can play it with other people.
Yes.
And Subnautica is cool, and I'm so glad it's actually a finished game. That's pretty rare these days. It's not still has 3 years until it's officially released, unlike most other, like the Forest, I believe only just got released, right? Even though it's been out for years. And there's a few other games like that. Same with Minecraft, it was in beta for like half a decade before it was officially released. So it's nice. It's nice this is actually a fully fledged game, but it sucks there's not any multiplayer. They do have a new expansion coming out though. I can't remember what it's called. It's called like Sub-Zero or something. Let me look it up. Subnautica expansion. So it's a standalone experience separate from the original Subnautica. So it's not a DLC add-on. It's called Subnautica Below Zero.
Okay.
It acts as an expansion to the story of Subnautica. And I believe the idea is it expands on... Well, the whole idea of the game is that you find out why your ship crashed, what you were doing there, etc. So I assume this guitar is on that storyline. I don't know what it is yet. In the chat, we have a few comments. Tromad says, underwater levels remind me of TMNT, underwater level, Nintendo, big, old, and nope. Yeah, that's the thing about underwater levels, right? Plus, the fact that this underwater level is kind of a scary thing because you are going to you're constantly worried about your survival. You can be worried about that. I also installed Warcraft 3.
Hey.
RTS, because I thought to myself, why not? It's a tiny little download. I've got the key, so I've installed it. I made a Battle.net account, logged in to make sure that I could, and it's all as well. I don't have any maps or anything, and I don't trust any of the bots. I know everything's done through a browser now anyway, so you go into I can't remember what the website is, but it's like warcraft3bots.com or something. And it will, you tell it what game to host, and it'll host it for you. Then you join that game, and that way you don't have to host on your internet and port forward and yada, yada, yada. It's pretty neat. I like this is the system that's there now. So if anyone wants to play that at some point, I'm up for that. Warcraft 3 is an awesome bunch of custom games in there. I always enjoyed playing Sheep Tag, Trent Tag, the Vampire games, the Dragon Ball Z based games, the Hero Wars and the Creep Wars games, the Summoner games. So many good memories. I put so many hundreds of hours into that game. I really love Warcraft 3. I had it installed for years as well because I always kept going back to it. It's really good. So I'm glad to have it installed again.
Nice.
So if anybody's interested, give me a shout. Let's see. I also have been playing a little bit of RimWorld here and there. I've not touched Factorio as much. I've installed Quake Champions at the suggestion of Hando. I've not played it yet, but it's installed. It's sitting there. I said I'd play Alien Isolation and Crusader Kings 2, but I haven't touched either yet. I'm probably going to save Alien for Halloween. We'll see how that goes.
That'll be a good choice for that one.
I think so. What I have played a lot of this week is Banished. I fell back into Banished. I think I put about 20 hours into it this week in the evenings. It's a lot of fun. It's such a good game. I'm so sad that the guy just like when they made it, they had like this. Their goal was not particularly. They weren't aiming particularly high in terms of features and stuff. It's quite a simplistic end goal. However, they made it very expandable through mods. And the finished product was just so well polished that it's just such a nice little survival town game. Really, really fun. And so I keep going back to it. And I've installed a new set of mods and deleted the old ones and trying it out now like this. It's just so great. Like even the music, I have it constantly playing as like a backdrop to my mind now. But Banished, I really do recommend it. If you're looking for a game to take away some hours, single player, really fun, Banished. Awesome.
So
and lastly,
with that, and you talked about the soundtrack on it, is that one of those ones that you would recommend or put together as something you would put on our playlist?
So I probably would, but I looked for this last year. I haven't tried since then, mind you. But I couldn't find it. I knew that who made it. It was the developer's brother did all the soundtracks, but I couldn't see it online anywhere. So what I might look into is maybe I can ask on Reddit and maybe I'll look around and see if I can actually dig it out the files of the game itself. Maybe I don't know, because it really is a beautiful background track. Some of it's a little bit sad because the game it's really fun. It's really great, but if you it's a survival game, right? The idea is that you try to keep your town alive, and that often means death. A lot of death. Like you'll run out of food, and then half your population will just go.
Yeah,
and then enough food left after that.
That one's it's an interesting ebb and flow in that game because I've definitely seen where I think everything's going fine for a moment, and then somebody else gives birth, and all of a sudden everything goes to pot.
Yep. Yeah, it's the kind of game that you really want to have too much food. You really don't want to have just enough, right? It doesn't work that way. So that's been fun. And the last game that I want to mention, of course, is Wayne's new addiction as well. So I've been enjoying playing WoW here and there.
Can't say the actual words. It might invoke something.
Yes, exactly. Let's call it the game that shall not be named. So yeah, I've been jumping on doing a bit here and there. Let me share a screen. Can I share a screen in this easily? Yeah. Okay.
You should be able to. And if I need to, I can probably. Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Oh, that's actually quite easy. Discord's nice. So yeah, I've been transmogging everything to make my characters look better. So got my crappy monk that I hate because I hate Pandarans, but I really want to have a max level of every race eventually one day. So he's there for that purpose. I hate him though. I just hate him. Look at him. He's all fat and hot. Like how is he going to be useful in a battle? Looks dumb. Anyway, so this is a Worgen Druid. I've been playing him as a healer, so that's why he's got his shiny handhelds there. I also don't like the werewolves, though. I find them to be rather, I don't know, furry.
Yeah, the Worgens just don't speak to you?
No, it's a bit too Moonguard for me. So I don't know. I just don't enjoy it. Like I enjoy playing when I. That's probably why I made it a druid, because I thought maybe if I can transform it into other forms, I might enjoy it more. So I'm looking forward to unlocking tree mode as a healer, so I can actually do something else with it. I've been touching on my mage a little bit, but it's quite hard to play. I'm playing through Northrend or TBC right now, and that's pretty tough to do, to be honest. It's a bit slow, and instances and the likes are not really available, so that's taking its time. Same with my priest. I bloody hate gnomes too, but whatever. I need to get a max level in it. But I really enjoy the priest class, though. It's pretty good. Got my DK here. Again, it's something that I used to really enjoy, but I don't really like them in the recent version of DKs. They're a bit, I don't know, dull now. They're not as powerful as they once were. My warlock, who's still in his 100 character boost gear. Not really played him since. I've logged onto him recently, and because the fact that the latest expansion's out now, his staff is useless. It's just basically a heirloom item rather than an artifact weapon like what it used to be. It used to be you could level up different talent tree almost. It had like a direct effect on the game, but they've now removed all that for the latest expansion, making the last expansion a bit useless.
Oh no.
Which is what. Yeah, so I don't really enjoy playing him, to be honest. Same with my hunter. She's okay. I think she's pretty cool looking and stuff, but I don't really play her. My rogue I've been playing a little bit more. That's who I use the latest card to boost for the 110. She's pretty cool. I enjoy the gameplay of her rogue. I always struggle to level pure DPS classes because there's part of my brain that's like, what if you can't get any dungeons with them? Which is pretty likely. So I always like to have that's why my top 3 favorites here, Paladin, Shaman, and Demon Hunter, all have multiple specializations. So here's my 110 Pally. I believe this is him in his Ret spec, but I tend to play him either tank or Ret. Got my Chamois here, looking a bit dumb because he's halfway through gearing. Level 111. Got my DK, my DH here, Demon Hunter, freshly transmogged, of course. Level 112. I'm going to play him mostly as tank, but level him as DPS. And then at my top max level is my warrior, which I've been having fun with. So I've been kind of struggling with max level because right now I thought it was just me. I thought I was really bad at the game, but Reddit's been confirming that warrior tanks at max level are really underpowered right now. And I was wondering why I kept dying in dungeons and stuff, even though the healer would be like much better geared than me, and I was expecting to just pull me through pretty easily. It's because proc warriors really suck right now. So I've been kind of struggling to play them, and that's why I've been trying to start playing on alts more. So I got my druid up 4 levels this week, and I've been touching on other characters here and there. I've also been enjoying PvP actually, because when you do PvP as warrior, he's pretty insane. Those sick executes on Fury spec are just insane. Like I guess like by the end of a battle, 12 to 14 of the last hit kills because you do so much damage with execute, and that's really fun. That's really enjoyable. So I used to always play mage back in the day. So and that was more about trying to survive when you're so squishy than anything else. So or if you're lucky getting a pyroblast off. Whereas now it's like playing a warrior, I feel like they're running from me now. It's kind of satisfying. So that's. Oh, I see. You're also playing. I like this. Are you showing everybody this, or is this?
Yeah, just, I'm sharing it as well.
Cool. Should I join you? You're in Darkshire?
Yeah, I'm just doing little level quests. I'm nothing. This is kind of similar.
Level's your character?
What am I? 16 now?
I'll jump on my crappy monk and I'll come join you there.
So you don't have to. It's one of those. I was just, as you're chatting and you were sharing, I figured I could do similar without completely losing train of thought of what I was doing, since it's basic questing.
Yeah, I'm happy to say that on the warrior I now have 23,000, which is probably more than I think I've ever had at one time, just from doing all the quests.
Nice.
You just get so much money now. It's insane. I've been trying to level up blacksmithing, but it takes forever, even with the scrapper. So the scrappers, you know how like with enchanting you can disenchant any item pretty much.
Yes.
Well, that only gave you enchanting stuff. Now, oh god, sorry, I've not actually been on this profile for so long that all my add-ons are like freaking out. And for some reason I'm a Murloc. I don't remember doing this.
I don't even have.
Yeah, last time.
I was gonna say I don't even have any mods running. I'm just like vanilla.
Oh man, you need some mods. You need some mods.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, of course. No wonder I was a Murloc. I hate being a panda. Of course. Oh god, it's so dumb.
Oh, Ken is so scared of all things that might be furry.
Pretty much, actually. That's pretty much it. So yeah, it's been fun playing around, screwing around on it, but I think it'll be more fun once we get more people joining us. And so if anybody wants to jump in and come say hi, please do.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, admittedly, my initial thought coming into this was pretty much just going to be dance party and stuff like that. But again, as you were chatting along, it wasn't too bad for me to try to be able to play a little bit as such.
It's not too hard, I think, because the game is quite passive, right? There's a reason that we always watch something or do something else while we're playing. So I think it makes sense. Let me work out how to get. Oh, I don't know if I have any flight paths. This might not work. We'll see. So, how are you so far feeling about things? You said you're trying to do the lore side of things?
Well, so my goal is to actually lore up some and not, basically enjoy the storyline and stuff behind it. So for this one, I'm remembering kind of some of the sides of it because they're talking about the corruption that's been going on in the whole area. Is kind of the main storyline that's going on around what I'm doing right now. And it's interesting in that sense because, from the other side, when I did a rogue, I was an undead rogue, in which point we were actively trying to learn about the corruption and get that out there. And so it's now interesting to go from the Alliance side where it's kind of, suffering the side of what we were doing from the Horde side. And so that's been entertaining, interesting to me. And
all the areas are Cataclysm based, right? In Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. So it's Deathwing that's destroyed everything and making all the stuff the way it is.
Well, so that's the question. Well, so that's the question because it was talking about a little bit though. What I remember what we were trying to do with the Poison Quest and stuff like that from the original, right? Original stuff, and I don't know how different it is, or I'd have to pretty much continue through to understand a little more what's going on with the storyline in that case. But it's been entertaining just to kind of catch those little bits from the Alliance side. And as a rogue again, since I probably would say that's what I most identify with or what I had played the most with. Let's see, is that you sending me an invite?
That's me, yep. I see that we also have a St. Uther hanging about there and a copy.
Let's say I've definitely had interactions with Copy of late because she has wanted me to get things done quicker, and since I am under level 20, has been offering me rides all over the place to make sure.
That's sweet.
The druid in her has been giving me the opportunity to travel faster, so that I could actually get around and try to accomplish all my quests, quicker until I can finally unlock my ability to ride the mounts I already own.
I've got heirloom mount, which is a chauffeur, which lets you mount up from level 1.
Yeah, and I was being told about that since I've not done anything heirloom. That's all new concepts to me, but as an interesting one. And so,
God, I despise playing as a freaking panda. My God.
Why don't you like being cute and furry, Ken? I don't understand.
They're not cute. They're just dumb.
They're just furry. Oh, this is not good.
To be fair, I don't think many people are too weird about the panda thing. The Worgen thing people are weird about.
Weird about?
Yeah, go to that. We should host the show.
What, host a show from
party in Goldshire? Yeah.
I thought we pretty much agreed that we should never host a dance party.
That would let you realize. That would make you hate Worgen as much as I do.
I mean,
okay, we're all in the same group, but I don't see you on the map. Are you in? I don't understand how this works. Oh, you guys don't have war mode on. Oh, I need to turn war mode off. Damn it.
Oh, wait, do I have it on? Is that a default thing?
Which means I need to go. No, I have it on.
Okay, I was gonna say I just started playing. I don't know what I can do at this point since I'm only 16.
Ah, crap. Yeah, you can turn war mode on at the start, which gives you 10% extra XP. I need to turn it off because you can only. I need to go back to Stormwind to do that. Ah, what a pain!
I was gonna say I don't think I've even been to a big enough city to do that yet.
Oh, dude, you. Aggrace Distal, he says, "Ken, you're in Darkshire." I know I'm in Darkshire. Wait, am I supposed to be in Darkshire?
Let's see, where am I at right now?
Darkshore. Ah, I'm a noob. Oh my God, I'm a noob. Wrong dark something.
Oh, Ken. You're adorable.
I know what to do then. Okay, let me leave the group. And then let me... Oh, is there an inn here? I'm going to log out. I'll jump over to my main. I can teleport. I can screw around that way.
Well, and so this is kind of actually a preview for those who are interested that we will be... I will probably be sticking around long enough to play this after the show for a bit. Just because I don't think I have anything specifically planned or anything scheduled that I have to do right away. I mean, there's always things I could be doing, being more responsible, and not falling in a place where I can't then run up the hill. But right now, I don't think there's... Oh, I'm still getting stuck. But I don't
I
think
actually
there's...
ran to two boss mobs somehow. They're called Veiled Fanatics. I don't know how I did this. I think they might be Horde, and they killed me instantly.
Huh.
Whoops.
That's one way to change accounts.
It's a freaking panda anyway. Who cares? I'll just sickness.
Your hate of the pandas, so severe.
I might just delete it. I might just delete it because he's just so pathetic.
Oh, that's funny. But let's see. What I will do is I will turn this quest in and then get back to... Okay, I will just hang out here for now and switch things back over so you can see what's going on with me as we'll continue talking about the show. And so let me just... Yep. Let's put... There we go. Back in the thing so I can see what I've been missing in chat and things like that. Nice. I like that Sandy Thur's sitting there saying, "You are wrong, Ken. You are wrong."
You are a noob, Ken.
All right, so as we continue on and have talked about all the things that have been geek in our lives this week, it is time for us to transition over and start talking about the potential of news and more with...
Technology, news, and more. Today on the Geekoscope.
And I normally rely and would happily go over to you, Ken, first to say, is there anything in the news that you've been following that you wanted to make sure you talked about?
Well, first of all, I'll go shout out to if anybody has any news to talk about, they can send us some emails to showx@btproductions.com. But also, if you want to keep an eye on news throughout the week, if I see anything of particular interest, I tend to share it on the ShowX Facebook. So check us out there, because that's always fun. Then you get to hear some gaming news as well as a literal crap ton of memes, which is always good. So yeah, I've got a couple articles. This first one I want to touch on is Devil May Cry 5. So did you ever play the Devil May Cry series that much?
So I never played them. I was aware of them. Like, I know they exist and that a lot of people have a ton of fun with them, but I have not played them myself.
So this article is from IGN, and it says Devil May Cry 5, how a more-like chainsaw sword holds the key to tradition. So that actually does sound very, very, very Devil May Cry, to be fair. It sounds quite accurate to me. So it says, here's Devil May Cry 5's in-game description of the Cavalier, an actual weapon Dante is able to wield. Cavalier is a motorcycle fused with a demon that splits in two to be wielded as twin swords.
Okay.
When equipped, Dante dons two motorbike chassis as if they were chrome boxing gloves. While the description above may say sword, chainsaw is far more accurate. As a combo escalates, the two halves fuse together to form a rideable bike, allowing Dante to power slide his way through demons. It's gloriously absurd, as you'd imagine, and stupidly fun to use. So yeah, it's nice to see that Dante's coming back to the series because he was one of the coolest characters. Well, he was the main character of Devil May Cry, the original.
Yeah.
So it's good to see him come back, especially after their kind of annoying. What was that character? It wasn't Virgil. I can't remember his name. The dumb dude with the demon fist. It just seemed a bit, I don't know, try hard. But I'm glad they're returning to this because I really enjoyed Devil May Cry back in the day on PlayStation 2. All those years ago, so that's pretty cool that it's coming back and it's continuing down this ridiculous streak of stuff. I've got one other short article that I'd like to bring up as well, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Twitch has been blocked in China.
What?
Yeah, that's pretty huge actually. Despite a boom in popularity last month, Twitch has been blocked from China. Users who wish to download the Twitch app in China will find themselves disappointed as the app has been removed from the respective mobile app stores. Likewise, if you try to access Twitch through a web browser, it will simply not connect you to the website. Last month, the Twitch app in China saw huge success when it became the third most downloaded free app on the iOS App Store. The sudden rush of downloads and viewers can primarily be attributed to the Asian Games, an esports event where Twitch was the most popular way to watch. Why the block? There's no clear answer, but according to Abacus, some Chinese users believe this is the government cracking down on the country's gaming addiction issues. Others believe it's a form of limiting free speech. That's the one I would probably go for. I mean, maybe there's some idiots who are trying to do the first one, but the free speech thing makes sense, right? You have a lot of people talking about all these American and Western ideals on it. Can't let that happen. So that sounds true to me. And yeah, that's the whole article. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So I had a lot
so
more text. There was advertising other stuff, so I stopped reading.
yeah, in a way, I almost want to follow up on that just with stuff that's happening still continuously here, which is things about net neutrality, other things like that. But we'll get into that later. What I wanted to share instead, let's see, get the right article. Copy shared an article in the Twitch chat, and this one's coming from Game Informer talking about Nintendo. And so thank you for this link, Copy. We'd like to have relevant new news. It says Nintendo grants a terminally ill fan's wish to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So it comes in the article saying Chris Taylor is a big fan of Smash Bros. And was just as excited as everyone else to see the newest game in the series announced this past E3. Unfortunately, he has also been diagnosed with cancer. That, despite having been beaten twice before, he has been told that it is terminal. Taylor worries that he won't live long enough to see the games he has been excited for, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Devil May Cry 5, released in a few months. Taylor's tweeted about this wish before, which gained some attention, which then set off a chain reaction across gaming subreddits, driving attention to his wish. One of the quoted ones says, "I'm really scared I won't be able to play Ultimate." And then it continues and it says, Taylor described his tweets how it hurt him to see all these trailers and discussions for games he doesn't think he'll be able to play when they come out. Fortunately, Nintendo was made aware of this and flew a demo build of the game to him early this morning. And this is back on the 21st, so this just happened. It says, formerly Nintendo was made aware, let's see, yes, Taylor's friends and family got to play the game for 3 hours today and let him take a whole bunch of pictures he promises to put up. And so he then tweeted and said, "We did it, guys! Today, 2 Nintendo reps came down with the E3 demo of Smash Ultimate, and I got to play it for 3 hours with a local friend, my brother, and my mom. I got pictures incoming, but like, holy yes, thanks to everyone who did this for me. You're all the real champ." And it says they found out they were coming around Tuesday and couldn't say because even a Switch with a demo on it is a high-value target to be stolen. Same for as why I didn't get to keep the demo, though I absolutely expected that. In answer to some of the questions about it as a whole. But in 2017, Nintendo Security flew an advanced copy of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild to Gabe Marcella, a 26-year-old with hours left to live. In neither that instance nor Taylor's did Nintendo speak of it publicly. But that is just a really cool article, and I will give props out to Nintendo for being, good people in that sense and helping satisfy a wish. I mean, how cool is that? And that's really helping out your fans in that sense. I mean, because that's who's supporting you. Oh, look at you looking through your different mounts and showing off what kind of dragons you have.
Could you send me an invite to the group?
Let's see. I have to actually go back in here.
I was going to show off the dumb new one that I got.
Wait, which character are you under?
Magus, Majus.
I saw your response or your request there, so I should have just accepted it since it is in my background now as I'm just kind of sitting around as we continue the show. But yes, so awesome to any company that's willing to take some time out and really help a fan out, because whenever someone's suffering something like that, we get so much of our joy as gamers from playing the games we love. And there's not much more exciting than seeing when something you've always followed is going to get an update, a new release, something that you're really looking forward to. And so that they allowed for him in this case, and previously with the Breath of the Wild example of someone to actually play it, that is legit cool. And it's even cooler that it's not like they were trying to make a big publicity thing of it where they weren't saying anything. They were just doing good by their fans. And so that's actually really awesome to see. So that's good news, and I thank you, Copy, for sharing that, because it is nice to get something positive out of things like that. So thank you for that. All right, so on to things that maybe aren't as fun and positive, because go figure, it wouldn't be news if it wasn't something in the U.S. going on about...
before you do it, I still not got the invite, by the way.
What? I just approved you. I'm going to approve you again. Are you in now?
Nope. Oh, wait, yeah, I am now. Okay. Cool.
I was going to say, I see you in there. I see you. I see Nautica. I see Agrius SW. So I see whole groups of people there. I see Agrius just hanging out around me as I'm sitting here. In fact, I should probably...
I've still got the war mode problem, but we'll see. I'll try and stand near you guys and see what happens. If not,
I'm going to sit there and dance party as I go through this. So.
Oh, this is so old school.
All right. So, as you are now in the group, and I bring up the next article... This one talking about internet connections here in the United States, because this is a continuing theme. So, from PC Gamer, an article back, and this is from a couple days ago, where it says FCC Chairman Ajit Pai, because we love him, calls California's net neutrality rules, quote, illegal. So, for those who don't know, California is trying to enact its own set of strict net neutrality rules, and if successful, other states could, and probably would, use it as a blueprint for passing similar bills. The only problem is that it is, quote, illegal to do so, according to FCC Chairman Ajit Pai. Pai's stance on issues does not come as a surprise to anyone who's been following the situation. For those who haven't, here's a quick recap. In a 3-4 vote earlier this year, the FCC effectively reversed net neutrality rules that were implemented during the previous administration, paving the way for internet service providers and wireless carriers to largely regulate themselves. The only really caveat is that they have to be upfront about things like throttling. In the wake of net neutrality rules being rolled back, California and other states are attempting to restore the rules on a state level. The FCC foresaw this happening, and so it claimed the power to preempt state net neutrality rules in its open internet order. Whether the FCC has the power to preempt state net neutrality rules is something the courts will ultimately decide. In the meantime, California has forged ahead with a bill that implements even tougher restrictions than the original net neutrality rules. And all that is required at this point is a signature by the state governor, which I do believe has passed in that time. So Ajit then says that, let's see, it says, these plans allow consumers to stream video, music, and the like exempt from any data limits. So one of the challenges that Ajit's bringing up is saying that they have a rule in there that you can't treat any traffic as special. So that right now some of the way ISPs are getting around some of the limits they put on their people is by allowing certain traffic to not count against their overall amounts. And so that is also being considered by many to be somewhat anti-competitive in that they are able to fast roll or provide a bonus for certain access and certain sites versus what they have as competitors, and thus, allowing their customers to have, better access to maybe YouTube, but not Netflix, or vice versa, or Amazon Prime and not something else. So there are concerns there about it not truly being fair. And so in that, California is trying to make it so it's truly net neutral, as the implication is, and that you have to treat all traffic the same, and therefore you just have to provide the bits that people are requesting, and so see how that goes. And I don't know what to say other than my opinion on this whole thing continues to be that the current administration is very against consumer rights and is very in favor of companies and their ability to control all the ways we interact with our data, with each other, in ways that they can choose to monetize it whenever they want, and essentially take away our freedom to choose and have opportunities and options. And so I am heavily, not surprised by one, but against the things that Ajit is doing. And it's dirty because it's misrepresenting things. And it pisses me off that they're able to get away with it and such, even though they're public servants and they've been put in a position where they're supposed to be looking out for the greater good of the country and not for their own personal interests or for that of corporations.
The only way that this will ever get stopped is if the public interest is greater than the private interest. And right now, it ain't. People don't care that much. People are confused. If they get told net neutrality is the bad thing and the government is going out their way to stop it, they're like, great. And they're like, this makes Netflix faster? This is great. Right? They don't think anything else about it. They don't realize it's going to cost them a lot of money in the end, and you're just lining the pockets of those who already have way too much, right? I mean,
absolutely. It continues the same trend that, and be mad at me if you think this politically doesn't match what you think's going on, or heck, educate me, point me to some good, solid discussion, and preferably some good facts and examples of how getting rid of the laws that were in place from net neutrality benefit us as individuals in any way. Show me examples of where this really has done good for us, and it hasn't just opened up the door for ISPs to continue to just stay rich. Hey, hello, and thank you for that, as we just got notification of, which one was that? Was that a sub, or was that a like? I forget. Yes. I have to get my all my sounds back in order of which one each one means. So that was for a follow. No, that was a follow. So thank you to Mustafaka for following. Appreciate that. Definitely. We look forward to you following us and seeing shows in the future. So awesome on that. But yeah, it was something that I would like to be better informed. If you have thoughts and understandings or ways that you believe might change my opinion on what's going on with the FCC today and what the current administration's goals are for consumer rights, feel free to email us at showx@vtwproductions.com. We read all the emails that come in, and I would happily have that discussion. In fact, if you have some really good talking points on it, I'll bring you on the show and we can discuss it on air. I mean, I want to know better, because right now it feels like, as you said, Ken, we just have a totalitarian type of regime in some way. But organizations, people in charge areas that are able to force through things that, from what I've seen, are not in the greater good of the public, but are definitely there to support individual companies. And as far as I can tell, that is not the role or not what's supposed to be happening by these organizations. And so I would really rather they not, if that makes any sense. So, yay. Yay! Thank you. In following on this, real quick, if you will indulge me, Ken, I have a article that kind of talks about some of the challenges that happen when you let the government get away with this nonsense. This one coming in from motherboard.vice.com, and it's saying that wireless carriers throttle video for no good reason, according to researchers. So, if your Netflix or YouTube stream is crappy, there's a good chance your wireless provider is just trying to milk you for more money, according to a new research out of Northeast University. They say that while ISPs have historically claimed that they only slow down network traffic in a very specific cases of network congestion to prevent network slowdowns for other users, the university's research indicates that is not true. Working with other researchers, David Chafness, assistant professor of computer and information science at Northeastern, developed an app named Weehee. Weehee was then used to conduct 500,000 data traffic tests across 161 countries to help determine which ISPs routinely hamstring streaming performance for services like YouTube and Netflix. His findings: nearly every major wireless provider in the States specifically throttles video, aka differentiation, even when the network is perfectly capable of handling the load. There's no evidence that any of these policies are only happening during network overload, says Chafness in a statement. Quote, they're throttling video traffic even when the network doesn't need to. It happens 24/7 and in every region where we have tests. I wonder when it said countries if it didn't mean counties. But anyhow, different wireless carriers were more aggressive with its throttlings than other. It has links on this article of a full breakdown. In fact, I'll make sure to link out this both in the show notes and in the chat now if anybody wants to follow along. But it says, of the instances of throttling found that Verizon was by far the worst culprit, with 11,000 instances where a video service was slowed down on a test device occurring between January and May of this year. AT&T was second worst, with over 8,000 instances of slowdowns. So if carriers aren't throttling video to help manage network congestion, what are they doing? They're intentionally showing down video, as the article states, in a bid to make even more money off consumers that already pay some of the highest prices for mobile data in the developed world. So why is that, or what is it they're claiming? Essentially, they're saying that they are now, a lot of these providers are offering services where you can prioritize what you want to stream. And so if you want a media streaming package, much like they used to do on tiered cable television packages and such, you can pay a premium for that service and therefore get the services you want unthrottled and directly to you. So that's essentially what they're saying, is that they're allowing this to now happen, and they're showing poor performance regardless of whether it's necessary. And gosh, do I hate that. One of my big personal opinions, and this comes to how words are used to sell things. If someone tells me something's unlimited, it needs to be damn unlimited without any kind of barriers on it. It's one of those things that, okay, if I am paying for unlimited data, don't slow me down to the point where I could never, if I was downloading 100% of the time, reach, a certain level, because you've throttled me to such a point that I can't use the data. And that seems to continue to happen these days as ISPs have gotten hit with the idea that they call something unlimited even though it really isn't.
Mm-hmm. I hate that so bad.
So it's all this stuff that they're allowed to kind of get away with through marketing, and it really bugs me. And so it's something that I wish, like you were saying earlier, Ken, when it comes to net neutrality as a whole, that consumers and individuals were a little more aware and really more willing to stand up and complain and make comments about that, as well as to vote appropriately. Because here in the States, I think our number one tool is to say, and we're about to run into an election cycle, when you have representatives who are going to be voting on laws, make sure they represent what you want, and not just on one hot topic issue, but as best across the board as you can. And if you're not sure where they stand, if they haven't had a voting record that shows, call them, ask them, talk to their offices, and don't ask like a leading question of, hey, I really want you to do this. I mean, you can do that after, but if you're not sure, ask them specifically, like, where do you stand on this? And don't give them prompt so they can't answer the way they think you want. Just tell them to answer and then note that down, go off your top issues, and vote accordingly. Find the representatives that best represent you, regardless of their political affiliation. Now, there's other discussions on top of that, because you might want to feel like you need to play the game for how things are going to be voted on nationwide. That's a situation where hopefully you can find representatives, I'm a big fan of this, that will stick to their own personal beliefs beyond their party affiliation, so that if they say that they support one thing because that's what they support, that they don't change that opinion when it comes up to an important vote because the party says they should. And so that's where it's like, come on. Speaking about this as a whole, Hendo asks, is this across every tier? Well, no, the challenge is, it depends on the carrier. I haven't read the whole breakdown yet from the article of what they were testing, and it was this one report, so I'm not going to say it's definitive for their report. I haven't gone in to double check the source to see how, blind tested and how diverse the test was and whether their methods were considered sound across the board. But it brings up those concerns, because I have definitely witnessed at times where it's the middle of the night and I'm trying to stream something and it really doesn't feel like I'm getting full LTE speeds, because I've seen that demonstrated at, CES way back when it first came on, when LTE was first a thing. And I've seen what bandwidth can be, and I have never seen those bandwidth. And so I have those same questions and concerns that, admittedly, I'm not testing. But from what I've witnessed, certainly seems like the ISPs are doing their part to control how much data you're getting and when. Whether, how they do it, who knows. So those are some of the general concerns I definitely have when I hear stories like this. Ken,
I can see why.
Is this anything that you guys have to deal with out of the States? I know this is something that we bring up a lot because, unfortunately, a lot of the world mimics or follows what the United States does. So what has been your experience where you're at?
I think I'd say the world used to. I don't know if that's an accurate statement these days. Well, in the UK, we don't have net neutrality technically, but it's not such a big issue because we've got competition between our ISPs.
You're small enough that you can actually have multiple carriers reach you at one point?
Yeah, exactly. Like you can pretty much get any one, more or less. I mean, there's local ones as well, but they tend to just hire lines of somebody else. But that still works. That's fine. It's sometimes just cheaper as well. But generally speaking, yeah, we don't actually have net neutrality, and that is an issue. I think it's fixed. I've seen multiple carriers say things along the lines of, if you get our mobile phone, you'll get unlimited Netflix streaming for 1 month or something, which is a pretty cool deal, and you can actually probably like hundreds of gigs of data with that. But I do think it's a little unfair, even if it comes with benefits. That's the thing with net neutrality. By setting up so that net neutrality is a thing, we're banishing the bad, but we're also banishing some good things. I mean, it is pretty nice being able to say like free internet data for specific sites. Like social media is another famous one. All your Facebook and Twitter and your email or whatever are all going to be cost no data. I like the idea. However, I don't think it's worth the price of what they can do when they want to screw us over. So and that's my honest opinion of it. Both as a professional and as somebody who actually pays for ISPs and such. But I think most people are in ignorance of this. I think most people just don't understand what net neutrality is. They think, oh, it's a computer thing, and they just sort of trust the government to sort it. I think some people think that it is actually, that net neutrality is a bad thing.
And I've seen arguments that have come up with that and misleading comments. I think I brought it up last week, where the FCC, and this is where it should be, in my opinion, completely illegal for them to do because they're supposed to be representing people, is that they have been misleading people with robocalls and stuff like that, saying that, hey, there's these laws that are about to be voted on that if you do, it's going to cost you more money. It's like, no, actually, it's going to keep your ability to, have choice and things like that, because that's where you get competition and how you actually get value, especially for all the people who profess that they want, better, they want the capitalism to kind of self-regulate and do some of its own things. Well, you need competition for capitalism to actually work. Otherwise, you get monopolies and it actually loses everything. And so you should all be in favor of laws that try to keep things even and more equal between different services so that there is actually competition. If there was valid competition between multiple carriers, then maybe capitalism by itself would work without as much regulation. But it doesn't happen here in the United States. I've run into a situation where one of my friends moved into an apartment, and they have a clause at that apartment complex that allows them to have even though it's illegal, a monopoly for only using one provider. And so with that, the tenants have no choice. And the complex has said, nope, that's how we've done it. And so that's all you get. And there's nothing he can do about it, which just is really terrible. And so it's these senses of, okay, so then what are you supposed to do? I don't get it. So
that's the thing. You're supposed to talk to your congressman. That's what you're supposed to do when that happens. That's the only thing you can do.
So yeah, I am constantly tracking and looking at articles that talk about net neutrality and just keeping an eye on it, because it is just bogus and BS. And
I'm glad you are, because I don't think many people are, to be honest.
Well, and this is also why I please share our show, share the things we talk about. We'd love to get better in discussions with others. I would like to be informed, and so if people can show me opportunities where either I'm on the right track or I'm honestly completely off base, let me know. I'll read into it, I'll learn more, and I'll hopefully provide you all with the answers and better information about it. But I know that I have a desire to know more and to do right, but I probably need help as well. So, call me out when I'm wrong. That's basically what I'm inviting everyone out there to do. All right, Ken, with this, do you have anything you'd like to bring up specifically, article-wise and such?
I do. I have 2 articles sitting on hold.
All right.
Blizzard has now halted its development on Hearthstone's tournament mode.
Oh?
So yeah, this was promised to us, I think, last year or something like that? Blizzard announced today that it's putting development of Hearthstone's Heroes of Warcraft's tournament mode, which Blizzard had previously planned to release this year, on hold. According to Blizzard, the company felt the tournament's functionality it was creating would only appeal to a small audience of players.
Interesting.
But the publisher still sees tournaments as an important part of expanding Hearthstone's social features. Tournaments can serve many different audiences, but the implementation we derived at catered to a very specific audience of players. Instead of broadening Hearthstone with an exciting new way to play, it felt tacked on. BT post on Hearthstone's website, and it wasn't integrating well into the larger Hearthstone experience. Again, I always have mixed feelings with these kind of things, because it's like, okay, great, you're actually, you're doing something that means that you care about the quality. You're not just trying to push out any old crap. You clearly that even though you're doing it to make money in the end, at least you're producing quality content for us in exchange, and that's great. At the same time, it kind of sucks because you promised us something and we're not getting it. So that sucks, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's a bit of an up and down. The second point is the second article here, which, by the way, both of these had annoying auto-playing crap at the top. Which
God,
me.
When I go to a site and I just am trying to get information, especially from a news site or something that's trying to profess information, I hate it. Even if they have it in a video format, autoplay is the worst when it comes up to things like that. It's like, let me choose how I want to present it. Get me to the site. I'm here because I want to know something. But don't force me to suddenly start consuming it.
Yeah, learn from the old MySpace of your days, right? It sucks.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not insta-killing these things. Do you know why?
I've heard, and I think it was Copy that had mentioned this to me a little bit, of one of the things that Warcraft is now implemented is kind of a change in how the leveling of any instance or characters and things that you run against works. That you will go to an area and actually have kind of a high-low level of how much something will scale. And so
Yep.
where for me, it'll scale up to, whatever's appropriate for the level because I'm at the right level for it. For you coming down, it'll actually scale them higher. And so
yeah, pretty much. These guys are level 60, 61 for me.
oh, wow.
Which is a little... Yeah, I'm 62, and I've got some gear from Northrend, because that's scaled as well, right? So I am still a bit more powerful than this place. So I'm still killing things with 2 or 3 spells.
Whereas for me, they're level 16, which is my level, so it's like appropriate.
Yeah. But it's neat, because it means that we can actually play together, even though we're such ridiculously different levels.
Which
Right.
is something
Isn't
that
that
is kind of new to me, and it's neat. It is neat to see. That was something that I think Copy had originally told me a little bit about, and so I was like, oh, that's actually really neat. It's that they are continuing to adapt what they're doing so that, it can continue to be, in this case, fun for everyone, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think it increases the sociability of it, because this way I don't have to play my crappy monk with you. That makes me happy, and therefore I'm enjoying my experience more, right?
Yeah, you get to continue leveling who you were leveling.
Well, I'm only playing mage because I could crazy. To be honest, I don't actually want to particularly play. I look forward to this character being max level. I don't really enjoy leveling him though.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyway, so the next one I had up was Halo Infinite won't sell loot boxes for cash. And again, it's sad that this is news, but
that this is a thing.
This is the day we're in. Yeah. This is the age that we live in now. So, despite recent indications to the contrary, 343 Industries and Microsoft will not sell Halo Infinite loot boxes for real-world money. Posting on Twitter yesterday, a Halo YouTuber wrote that he had a lot of faith in 343's ability to deliver a quality experience with Halo Infinite, but was extremely disappointed to hear Infinite would have microtransactions at all, which it does. Studio head Chris Lee responded, telling him not to worry. Keep the faith, it's appreciated, tweeted Lee. We're still working through the final plans, and we'll share more when we are ready, but I can definitely say that Halo Infinite will not include real money loot boxes. So it clearly means it still contains...
loot boxes. It's still going to have the experience where your people are going to be able to get things that are behind some kind of paywall.
Yeah, there's still going to be microtransactions in there, but they're not going to be loot boxes. So just because they've got a different system doesn't mean they should be rewarded, right? Just saying. So keep an eye out for
it's still there are better ways, and it would be nice if developers, I don't know, stopped trying to make as much. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. Like, yes, make money on your creation, right? That's good, but do it in a way that's meaningful for everyone involved. Me as a consumer, that I'm getting money's worth, that I feel the content is worth what I'm spending, and things like that. That'd be nice. Give me something along those lines.
I just wish that we were at a stage where people would go back to, wanting to pay for a game full price and enjoy it, and then, do you remember back in the day when Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne came out? You remember that?
I do.
That was like it was cheap. It was cheap to get the expansion because it was an expansion. It wasn't a new game. It was an expansion. But when you got it, you got so many campaigns and so much extra content that you were like, yeah, I'm really happy to have spent that money on it.
Yeah, you feel like you get your money's worth.
The thing is, I would have recommended that game to anybody. Like, I would have recommended that game to people who don't play games. I'd be like, this is the best thing ever. You'll love this. Because Warcraft 3 was honestly just such a... Well, it was Game of the Year twice, right? For the expansion and of...
Yeah, very good game.
Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos. So, it deserved it. And being a reasonable price, being a full price with no microtransactions, but being a good game, is all you need to make enough money to make bank, because people will recommend it through the nose to their friends, and to their family, and to acquaintances, and to people on the street if it's good enough. Which
You're
it was
right.
for Warcraft 3.
No, everyone will... It's the classic word of mouth thing. You make a good product and people are going to want to share it because they're going to be like, look what I'm enjoying!
Yeah, please play this with me. It's so fun. Let's have fun together.
Crazy concept. Crazy concept. I don't know what you're trying to say.
Yeah. That is the case today.
Anyhow, with that though, it looks like it's about time for us to get out of here.
It is indeed. So for anybody who has listened to the show, which is all of you, you've listened to ShowX on BeatDeadProductions.com. Thank you for listening in today. We've had a bit of a different show today, and I think we might actually, we should probably talk about our segments. Because for a while, I've been wanting to kind of mix things up, and I think with the fact that we can both stream games now, we should consider maybe mixing up our segments once in a while or whatever, because it's nice to refresh the show as well. We should talk about that. If you guys have any suggestions around those lines, send us a tweet, send us in a Facebook message, send us in an email. Wherever you want to send them in, you can do. If you want to send us in tweets, do so to @VTWShowX, @DocDead, or @GoHex. If you want to email us, it's showx@VTWProductions.com. If you would like to, what's the other thing I said? Facebook. If you want to find us on Facebook, you can do so fairly easily. We are just search for ShowX on Facebook, and you should find us no problem. You can also put on a post to our Reddit. We actually still got that little bit of fun thing going right now, which is we have a Spotify playlist of gaming music that we like that we've been adding to. I have now added a bunch of stuff of my own to it. So
yay!
Check it out. If you have Spotify, please do have a look and see. My quest log's full. It's not letting me join this quest. Let me kill a quest here. So if you are interested, I've made room. Oh, it's not letting me join. Whatever. Yeah. So if you are interested in sending, please do. And if you want to take part in Reddit to talk to us there, make your own post and such, you can do. Otherwise, if you want to actually take part in that playlist, that's good fun. We're trying to do some little community things like that. We've actually got comments now. It's me. I commented. I added some favorites from Halo, WoW, Fable, Mass Effect, Stellaris, and Minecraft.
Nice.
So check out a variety of songs there. I do recommend checking it out. It's good fun. It's a nice little playlist.
Yeah, no, I plan on jumping on with a few others for me, because there's some that I want to throw in there from Jet Set Radio and some others I've talked about recently, and so I plan on jumping on that. So follow the link, everybody. Get in on that. Follow us on all the things we do on all the various social medias and such like that if you want to keep up with the things that we're doing here for Show X. Also, we love to be interactive, so please give us a shout. Talk to us on Twitter. Talk to us on Reddit. Talk to us on this show's email, because we'll read them out to everyone else, and we'd love to have that discussion. But with that, you've been listening to Show X on BTWProductions.com, and we will catch you again next week. Now, I will say here at the top of the show that, let's see, as I look at schedule-wise, next week I think I'm fine, but the week after that might be an issue. We'll see. I've got some potential things coming up in the near term, but we'll figure it out, and I'll let you guys know ahead of time. So with that, though, you've been listening to Show X on BTWProductions.com, and we'll catch you again next time, everybody. Thank you very much, and we will catch you later as I find the right buttons.
Goodbye. See you next zombie.